Good morning, Darlene. Good morning, and no, I'm late. I am late. No worries. Just getting started. Oh, excuse me. I'm late and I'm still sleepy. The time change has thrown me off. How about y'all? Let's see. Good morning, Cindy. I did. I did. My brain caught on today. No, for everything else, who knows? But on that, my brain caught on. Still sleepy too. Yeah, it's goodness. It's gonna be a long day. All right. Well, let me go ahead and grab a reading for this morning. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Whew. I am so sorry. Okay, here we go. My hair is growing out pretty quickly, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do. It's at that point where I need to decide whether or not to grow it out or to continue to grow it or to chop it again. And I have not decided yet because what I'm doing now, it looks good in the back. I just don't like the way it looks in the front without my bangs and all that. And so, but I have to pin it back because the length, anyway, it's like third day hair and I'm struggling. So it's at that point where it's a little harder to style. Time change jet lag? Yes. That's exactly what it is. Good morning, Janet. And morning, Tiffany. Good morning. Good morning. All right. We are reading Psalm 78, which is a pretty long psalm. So we're going to go through this. The title is Lessons from Israel's Past. And for anybody who is new, either here or watching the replay, I'm reading from this volume, Psalms of the Bible. It has all of the Psalms in the Bible from the Bible in the Christian Standard and the King James. And if you're interested, it is linked in the description box on my favorites page, so you can check it out if you would like to do so. So Psalm 78, Lessons from Israel's Past. This is a maskil of Asaph. So Asaph wrote this one. It says, "My people, hear my instructions. Listen to the words from my mouth. I will declare wise sayings. I will speak mysteries from the past, things we have heard and known, and that our fathers have passed down to us. We will not hide them from their children, but will tell a future generation the praiseworthy acts of the Lord, his might, and the wondrous works he has performed. He established a testimony in Jacob and set up a new law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach to their children, so that a future generation, children yet to be born, might know. They were to rise and tell their children so that they may put their confidence in God and not forget God's words, but keep his commands." Verse 8. "Then they would not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation whose heart was not loyal and whose spirit was not faithful to God. The Ephraimite archer turned back on the day of battle. They did not keep God's covenant and refused to live by his law. They forgot what he had done, the works he had shown them. He worked wonders in the sight of their fathers, in the land of Egypt, the territory of Zoan. He split the sea and brought them across the water. He split the sea, this is verse 13, and brought them across. The water stood firm like a wall. He led them with a cloud by day and with a fiery light throughout the night. He split rocks in the wilderness and gave them drink as abundant as the depths. He brought streams out of the stone and made water flow down like rivers. But they continued to sin against him, rebelling in the desert against the Most High. They deliberately tested God, demanding the food they craved. They spoke against God, saying, "Is God able to provide food in the wilderness? Look, he struck the rock and water gushed out. Torrents overflowed. But can he also provide bread or furnish meat for his people?" Verse 21. Therefore the Lord heard and became furious. Then fire broke out against Jacob, and anger flared up against Israel because they did not believe God or rely on his salvation. He gave a command to the clouds above and opened the doors of heaven. He rained manna for them to eat, and he gave them grain from heaven. People ate the bread of angels. He sent them an abundant food supply. He sent them an abundant supply of food. He made the east wind blow in the skies and drove the south wind by his might. He rained meat on them like dust and winged birds like the sands of the sea. Verse 28. He made them fall in the camp around the tents. The people ate and were completely satisfied, for he gave them what they craved. But they had turned from what they craved while the food was still in their mouths. God's anger flared up against them, and he killed some of their best men. He struck down Israel's fit men. Verse 32. Despite all this, they kept sinning, and did not believe his wondrous works. He made their days end in futility, their years in sudden disaster. When he killed some of them, the rest began to seek him. They repented and searched for God. They remembered that God was their rock, the Most High God, their Redeemer. But they deceived him with their mouths. They lied to him with their tongues. Their hearts were insincere toward him, and they were unfaithful to his covenant. Yet he was compassionate. He atoned for their iniquity and did not destroy them. He turned his anger aside and did not unleash all his wrath. He remembered that they were only flesh, a wind that passes and does not return. Verse 40. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert. They constantly tested God and provoked the Holy One of Israel. They did not remember his power shown on the day he redeemed them from the foe, when he performed a miraculous sign in Egypt and wonders in the territory of Zoan. He turned their rivers into blood, and they did not drink from their streams. He sent among them swarms of flies, which fed on them, and frogs, which devastated them. He gave their crops to the caterpillar and the fruit of their vine to the locust. He killed their vines with hail and their sycamore figs with a flood. He handed over their livestock to hail and their cattle to lightning bolts. He sent his burning anger against them, fury, indignation, and calamity, a band of deadly messengers. He cleared a path for his anger, and he did not spare them from death, but delivered their lives to the plagues. Verse 51. He struck all the firstborn in Egypt, the first progeny of the tents of Ham. He led his people out like sheep, and guided them like flocks in the wilderness. He led them safely, and they were not afraid, but the sea covered their enemies. He brought them to his holy territory, to the mountain his right hand acquired. He drove out nations before them. He apportioned their inheritance by lot and settled the tribes of Israel in their tents. Verse 56. But they rebelliously tested the Most High God, for they did not keep his decrees. They treacherously turned away like their fathers. They became warped like a faulty bow. They enraged him with their high places and provoked his jealousy with carved images. God heard and became furious. He completely rejected Israel. He abandoned the tabernacle at Shiloh, the tent where he resided among mankind. Verse 61, he gave up his strength to captivity and his splendor to the hand of the foe. He surrendered his people to the sword because he was enraged with his heritage. Fire consumed his chosen young men, and his young women had no wedding songs. His priests fell by the sword, and the widows could not lament. The Lord awoke as if from sleep, like a warrior from the effects of wine. He beat back his foes. He gave them lasting disgrace. He rejected the tent of Joseph. He did not choose the tribe of Ephraim. He chose instead the tribe of Judah. Mount Zion, which he loved, Mount Zion, which he loved. Verse 69, he built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth that he established forever. He chose David, his servant, and took him from the sheep pens. He brought him from tending ewes to be shepherd over his people Jacob, over Israel, his inheritance. He shepherded them with a pure heart and guided them with his skillful hands. That was a tour de force of a psalm. Wow. This psalm was such a great review of all we've been reading with the Daily Grace co-reading plan. It reminds me of how important it is for us to review what God has done in our lives. Absolutely. Great comment. And as I was reading it, it just made me think of it. If you're familiar with the Old Testament story, then you can see it sort of play out as you're reading the words, right? And you can sort of remember, oh yeah, I remember when that happened, and I remember when that happened. And when he says, let's see, at the very beginning, in verse 5, well, like the first 8 verses, when Asaph explains, hear my instruction and listen to my word, and I will tell you wise sayings. And then he explains why. He says it's so that the next generation can understand, and so that they will know the praiseworthy acts of the Lord and all that he has done. And that's for the reason so that they don't forget and so they don't rebel. And it made me think of, I remember when I was younger, trying to figure out, I couldn't quite figure out how they got from the children of Israel following in fits and starts, following Moses and Joshua, and then all of a sudden we get to Judges, where it says that everyone was doing what was right in their own eyes, and I didn't know what the connecting point was. And it was because the generation forgot to tell the next generation. So the generation of Joshua, if I'm remembering all this correctly. So by the time you get to Judges, a generation had lost sight of what had happened because the previous generation hadn't told the young ones. And so then that's when you get Judges, which is a horrible account of Israel's history, or it's an account of a horrible time in Israel's history. So it's so important to pass on truth to the next generation so that they don't forget, and so that they don't, so that they do follow the Lord. Late to the party, you had a doctor's appointment. I hope everything went well, AK. And we began a little bit late. I was running about 10 minutes late. So you're not that late, actually. We just got finished reading Psalm 78, which might be the longest psalm we've read so far. Maybe. I'm not sure. It feels like it might be. Okay, let's do a question real quick. These are a little long. All right. If you could pick up a skill instantly, what would it be? If you could pick up a skill instantly, what would it be? And I read that from, again, for anybody who's new, from this Icebreaker Starter Pack. Lots of fun questions. If you could pick up a skill instantly, what would it be? Cindy K says public speaking. For me, I would say oops, things are spilling over here. I would say the guitar. Playing the cello or mastering the cello. Janet, Leonie, you want to play the piano. Tiffany wants to speed read. What else we got? Um, Playing the piano is something I would like to get better at. Violin, ooh, fun. But I can sort of like work on that. The one that I want to like master, or if I could just pick it up and be fairly proficient. The guitar. I need to add the guitar to the piano. If I could do that, that'd be great. The piano would be a second for you. So speed reading and then piano. Ooh, photography. Okay. Let's see. Those kind of bucket list skills. Bass guitar. Oh, fun. I was having a conversation with a gentleman this weekend, and he said that the bass is one of the easiest to pick up because he said it's easy to learn. It's hard to master, but it's easy to learn because he says it's like one note, right? And you basically are just playing one note at a time. And I was like, huh, that's true. I never thought about that. He said, I would consider learning the bass. And I was like, maybe I'll put that on my list. That'd be fun. I think the bass guitar is cool. Let's see. Knitting. Ooh, yeah. Knitting would be good. Knitting would be good. All right. So drawing and illustrating. Oh, fun. Yeah, man, drawing would be great. Drawing would be fun. I took a couple of art classes in high school, my freshman year, 8th grade and freshman year, I think. And I wish I had kept up with it. Ooh, I have some tasks that I need to migrate over to this week. All right. How was your week? In terms of getting things done? And what do you have on the docket this week? So obviously we didn't have the Monday morning show last weekend, or weekend. We never have a Monday morning show on the weekend because it's the Monday morning show. But what do you all have on the docket for this week? And how did last week go? So for me, last week was pretty good. I actually got a ton of things done. That was my first week off of social media. And I have to tell you, it is, I don't even know the word, disorienting. It's very disorienting to not be on social media. I feel like the whole, not basis, but it's such a huge part of my everyday. And I wish that wasn't the case, which is really the reason why I needed to be off of social media. But it's very disarming and weird. And it's been throwing me off in ways I was not expecting. And so, yeah, I got a lot of work done, but I also didn't do several things that I was wanting to do. So this week, now that I'm sort of acclimated to being social media less, I can hopefully pick up on some things that I sort of left behind. So I did fill out my power sheets for the year, which was fun. That was a little weird too, to be filling out power sheets for the first time. I usually fill out power sheets at the beginning of the year, like you're supposed to, but this time I let myself have the first 2 months off, and now I filled them out for spring, for the spring season that's coming up, I should say. And it was a really great experience to kind of have that time and to think about the new year or a new set of goals as the spring season is starting up. Oh, I am missing out so much. You didn't get your list done, but you did get a few website things taken care of. Awesome. Awesome. You can finally see your kitchen counter and sink. That is great. That is great. I did a little bit of that this weekend as well. Like I had let some dishes go and I was like, oh, this is driving me nuts. And I could finally see my sink. Okay. Let's see. Picked up this book, made me think of you. Taking a slip of coffee every time the book is mentioned. You're heavily caffeinated now. Thank you for the recommendation. You're so welcome. I hope you enjoy it. You're going to get to it before I do. I really should add it to my TB. I have my TBR next to me. Mm, oh, we've got like 3 weeks. What do we have? 3 weeks? Yeah, I don't know if I'll get to it, but I hope you enjoy it. You're on your phone 85% less than you were the week before. Awesome. That is so great. That is so great. Okay, so for this week, I did finish the bulk of my Power Sheets, but for those of you who do use Power Sheets, you'll know that there is a goal plan for each of the goals that you want to do. I filled out one plan for one of my big project goals. I just have to fill out the rest. So I'm going to finish my goal plans, and I need to. I have a stack. It doesn't look like a lot, but I have a stack of drafts for this project that I need to read. I am refurbishing a big project for the year. I will tell you all about later. So I have a bunch of editing to do. BSFS. And then I need to. Oh, awesome. You signed up for book. Actually, I did get that notification that you signed up for Book of the Month. Yeah, tell us which book you got. You got Lady Tremaine. Awesome. And you got a hat. Did you get the Book People hat? I recently got the Book People hat. Oh, man. Let's see. You got half of your storage. You got through half of your storage and have taken out 3 truckloads to the dump. That is awesome. That is awesome. It's a lot of work. Let's see. I was supposed to do a Substack post last week and didn't do it. It's half written. It's just not finished. It's sitting right there on my other screen. Let's see. I have some website things I got to work on too. Okay. So, finish goal plan. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go grab something over on the other side of the room. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're going to do books here in a second. If you want to, in the chat, pop in your priorities for this week. If you have them, go ahead and pop them in and we'll review them real quick. But if not, go ahead and pick colors and we will pick some books for the day or for the week. Where did it go? Okay. Speaking of Power Sheets, you chose the well-read hat. Nice. Did I order another hat? Because they were on sale when I was choosing my book of the month. So I have the Book People one, but did I choose another one when I ordered for March? Because if I did, I may have chosen the well-read hat. Now that you say that. All right, speaking of Power Sheets. Did I write? Okay, I did. Darn. Okay. I need to finish my a few things on my what do you call it? Tending list. All right, here we go. Oh, my box is slightly delayed. Oh well, that's okay. And I don't even know which book I chose. What did I choose? Nobody asked. I'm just looking. I did choose the well red hat. I chose the well red hat. Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, anyway, so this week I need to finish. Need to finish my, and I really kept it simple this time around. My power sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. My brain, you guys. I need to do. I'm gonna put together a database in Notion for wellness. I have it started, but I have to like put the pieces in there. So one of my goals this year is to reset my healthcare and wellness. I'm getting lab work done later this week, so that's already scheduled and on the docket. I have to. I need to go get my eyes checked, so I gotta go to see the eye doctor. Schedule. Need to at least schedule the appointment. Eye appointment. Let's see. Yeah, that's good for now. Oh, and I need to text. Okay. I have to schedule a meeting for something. Okay. Meeting. Okay. That has nothing to do with power sheets, but still something I have to get done. Okay. That's it for now. Alrighty, that's quite a list, and some of that needs to be moved to priorities. All right, any colors, you guys? What colors do we want today? What colors am I pulling off the shelves? No suggestions? You all are usually really fast on that. Let's see, spring colors. Okay, Anne says spring colors. So, okay, we have brown, white, yellow. Brown, white, yellow. Okay. Yellow. Okay. Is that because you guys can see all that yellow up there? Up there? Pink. All right, yellow. Sure. Brown, yellow. You said white. Let's see. White. I have brown and yellow. What about the one that has yellow flowers on the cover? Which one are you talking about? Should I know what that is? Oh my gosh. Yellow flowers on the cover? Which one are you talking about? What am I missing? Oh, okay. You're kidding? Okay. If that's something I'm supposed to understand, my brain is not picking. I'm so sorry, Cindy K. I have no idea what we're referring to. Okay. I don't really have anything pink ready to go. We did do pink last week. Brown. I have brown. I have yellow. Let's do white. And I don't have my step stool today. It's in the other room. Darn. Well, I have fiction. Let's do some nonfiction. Let's see. I have over there. Oh, we did that one. I'm seeing some stuff in my business section. Excuse me. That is a little outdated. Okay. I do need one of those library ladders, and I talked to my husband about it, but because these are not properly anchored for a ladder, I can't have a ladder. So one of these days when I have my own house, because this is a rental, I hope to have a ladder, a proper ladder. Okay, we'll do this one. Maybe. Yeah, let's do these. I feel like maybe there should be something more. I think we're good for now. Okay, I do need one of those library ladders. It's one of my wishes. Okay, I'm pretty sure we haven't done these because I just got this. For Brown, we have, I just picked this up at the thrift store the other week. My Dear Hamilton, a novel of Eliza Schuyler Hamilton, by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoy. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. My Dear Hamilton. Some of you may have seen this. This has been, I mean, that's true of any of the books that I recommend. I just feel like this is sort of a popular title because of Hamilton, right? So this is Eliza, a general's daughter coming of age on the perilous frontier of revolutionary New York. Elizabeth Schuyler champions the fight for independence. When she meets Alexander Hamilton, General George Washington's penniless but passionate aide de camp, I hope I'm saying that correctly, she's captivated by the young officer's charisma and brilliance. They fall in love despite Hamilton's bastard birth and uncertainties of war. The founding father's wife. But the union they create in their marriage and the new nation is far from perfect. From glittering inaugural balls to bloody street riots, the Hamiltons are at the center of it all, including the political treachery of America's first sex scandal, which forces Eliza to struggle through heartbreak and betrayal to find forgiveness. Good morning, budgeting mama. The last surviving light of the revolution. I'm not reading this very well. It's a general's daughter, and then the blurb, and then a founding father's wife, and then the blurb. And now we're at the last one, the last surviving light of the revolution. When a duel destroys Eliza's hard-won peace, the grieving widow fights her husband's enemies to preserve Alexander's legacy. But long-buried secrets threaten everything Eliza believes about her marriage and her own legacy. Questioning her tireless devotion to the man and country that have broken her heart, she's left with one last battle: to understand the flawed man she married and the imperfect union he could never have created without her. So, My Dear Hamilton, a novel of Eliza Schuyler Hamilton. I really, really want to read this. But it's going to have to stick around on my shelves for a bit because I don't have time. But this is high on my list. For any Hamilton fans, it would be potentially high on your list. And this is what I picked for Brown. And there's a little bit of yellow up there at the top for the PS, the postscript, the what do you call it? There's like a book. What do you call this? Insights, interviews, and more. So discussion questions and meet the author and all kinds of fun stuff in the back. You loved the play, so did I. Put that on your to be bought list. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I can't remember if we talked about this, but this is what I'm picking for yellow. This is called Time's Undoing by Cheryl A. Head. I picked this up, I'm pretty sure, at a thrift store, and it just looked interesting. And actually, coincidentally, this is endorsed. Both of these books are endorsed by Kate Quinn, who, if you have not read Kate Quinn, she's one of my favorites. She wrote The Diamond Eye and The Rose Code and The Alice Network. So anyway, great recommend or endorsement. Okay, Time's Undoing, a searing and tender novel about a young Black journalist's search for answers in the unsolved murder of her great-grandfather in segregated Birmingham, Alabama, decades ago, inspired by the author's own family history. Have we talked about this? I don't remember. I'm having a little bit of deja vu, but it could just be my brain. All right, Birmingham, 1929. Robert Lee Harrington, a master carpenter, has just moved to Alabama to pursue a job opportunity, bringing along his pregnant wife and young daughter. Birmingham, in its heyday, known as the Magic City for its booming steel industry. Sorry. Birmingham is in its heyday. This is 1929. But with his beautiful light-skinned wife and his snazzy car, Robert begins to worry that he might be drawing the wrong kind of attention in his new town. Thank you, Cindy Kay. Thank you, Darlene. All right, now fast forward to 2019. Okay. Megan McKenzie, a young reporter at the Detroit Free Press, has grown up hearing family lore about her great-grandfather's murder, but no one knows what really happened back then. Determined to find answers to her family's long-buried tragedy, Megan travels to Birmingham. But as her investigation begins to uncover dark secrets that spider across both city and time, her life may be in danger. Inspired by true events, Time's Undoing is both a passionate tale of one woman's quest for the truth behind a racially motivated trauma that has haunted her family for generations, and as newfound friends and supporters in Birmingham rally around Megan's search, the uplifting story of a community coming together to fight for change. Kate Quinn says, both timeless and timely, Cheryl A. Head writes a sensitive and searing tale based on a personal family history, which is sure to linger long in the memory. Time's Undoing, Cheryl A. Head. This is our yellow spine pick for today. So we have two. Oh, and this is, I did not plan this. It's Women's History Month. Look at these two picks. What amazing picks for Women's History Month. I did not plan this, but there you go. Both based on real people, real women. We'd love to see it. Okay. Now I've got nonfiction. Why is there dust? Apparently I need to dust my shelves. There's a big clump of dust on this one. All right, this will be our third pick. I think we've talked about this. I don't know what we have. All right, have we talked about Essentialism by Greg McKeown? I feel like we have. I'm going to recommend it anyway for anybody who missed it. Because, number one, it is on my list to read this year for my year of slow. And I think it's just an important topic. I am also currently I'm reading, oh man, do I want to go down that rabbit hole? What time is it? We got 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm currently reading The Plan by Kendra Adachi. And it was on my January list and I didn't get it done. You don't have it on your list? Okay, great. We're going to go with that. I'm reading Kendra Adachi's The Plan, which is her follow-up to The Lazy Genius Way, which I also just read. Both of them were on my January and February lists, and I'm just catching up on them. And one of the things that Kendra Adachi talks about is the fact that a lot of what we see in the productivity space. Do I really want to open this up? Okay, sorry. It's a lot of information. I'm trying to say it in like one or two sentences. A lot of what we see in the productivity space c- deals with presents two problems. Number one, um, if you're a woman, the productivity space is really geared towards men and how they work. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the scribbly part of the cover is relatable. It is. I'm going to get to this in a second. Anyway, a lot of the productivity space is geared around men and how they work. That's not a bad thing. It's just not useful when you're a woman. So not anti-man, not anti-men should have things that work for them. It's just that we should identify things that work for women. Okay. The second thing she said about the productivity space um, is that it really is driven by an industry that is making money. In other words, the more I tell you you ought to be productive, the more you're going to seek resources and tools to be productive and advice and so forth. Therefore, it drives that market so that they can continue to sell us things to help us be more productive. Again, that's not a terrible thing in the sense that productivity is important, but it can be problematic if we continually think that we're not getting enough done. We're not getting enough done. We have to be more productive. We have to be more efficient. We have to be, have to be, have to be. And so, and that's just like any other piece of the marketplace. They tell us we need things, therefore they can sell us things, right? And so those are two things that we just ought to be aware of, right? And so hopefully what we are doing, and this is kind of ironic, considering the words that just came out of my mouth, here's a book written by a dude um, in the productivity space. But what I do, if I remember correctly about this book, and it's been over a decade since I've read it, but from what I remember and what it says on the back, this is one of those messages that hopefully can steer us in a direction to say that we don't necessarily need more and more and more things to help us get things done, but we need to have a better way of choosing properly. So that's what I remember from this book. And hopefully I'm remembering that correctly. All right. So essentialism isn't about getting more done in less time. It's about getting only the right things done. Have you ever found yourself stretched too thin? Are you often busy but not productive? Do you feel like your time is constantly being hijacked? If you answered yes to any of these questions, the way out is the way of the essentialist. Essentialism is more than a time management technique, it is a systematic discipline for discerning what is absolutely essential, then eliminating everything that is not. So we can make the highest possible contribution to the things that really matter. By forcing us to apply more selective criteria for where we spend our precious time and energy, the disciplined pursuit of less empowers us to reclaim control of our own choices, instead of giving others the implicit permission to choose for us. Essentialism is not one more thing to do. It's a whole new way of doing less, but better in every area of our lives. Join the millions of people who have used essentialism to change their outlook on the world. So, the disciplined art of pursuing less. I'm going to add a caveat to this. And beyond basic needs, we all need what cannot be commodified. We just have to disengage long enough to realize that's true. That's very true. I'm going to add a caveat to this. Again, just from what I remember and what might be helpful to keep in mind. And that is a lot of people, or I've heard often, I'll just say this, I've heard often that things like, and we get this messaging, that I want to, um, I want to do, I want to protect my peace. I want to be in control of my schedule. I need mastery over my schedule. I need mastery over my time and resources and all those kinds of things. It's not exactly what I'm trying to say. Those aren't the words I'm trying to use. What am I trying to use? Basically, with things like essentialism or any other time management framework. The desire is to be able to control all the elements of time and resources so that we can, one, be productive, make a contribution. Those are very important things. Have time for our friends and family, very, very important. Have time to pursue the things that we want to work on. Like earlier, we were talking about skills that we'd like to master. Those are all very important things. However, as Christians, we also have to remember that number one, there are many things that we can't control. Everybody knows that, believer and otherwise. Everybody knows that. But we ought to also hold it firmly, but loose enough to let things go if God decides to interrupt or to place something in our hands that we were not expecting or anticipating. And that's not a disturbance of peace. That's just being a disciple of Jesus. So sometimes we get frustrated because, oh man, now I have to rearrange something because this thing dropped in my lap and I wasn't expecting it. And now it's interrupting my finances, or it's interrupting my time, or it's messing with my plan for, the week or the month or whatever. That's okay. That is totally fine. That just means that a good disciple of Jesus needs to learn how to pivot well and graciously so that we can make room for the things that God has placed in front of us, or has placed in our hands to steward, or in our lives to navigate or to influence, whether it's a person or a situation or whatever. God will place things in our path that we do not expect, that might make us feel a little uncomfortable because it wasn't part of our original to-do list. And whatever that is, it might not feel essential. But if I'm going to use essentialism sort of as a example, what ought to be essential to us should resemble something along the lines of the kingdom of heaven. So if that's the one thing that's most important, and everything else sort of falls under that umbrella or in light of that, then when we are interrupted, or when we do come across something that wasn't a part of our plan, we can say, yeah, but it's still essential because what God wants is essential for me. Does that make sense? Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Those are my thoughts off the top of my head. So those are our 3 books. I've got a really long day today, and we're coming up on the top of the hour, and I don't want to go too far off or too far over time today. So we have My Dear Hamilton. Okay, that's the back of it. My Dear Hamilton by, what are the names? Stephanie Dray and Laura Camoy. We have Time's Undoing by Cheryl A. Head. And then we have Essentialism by Greg McKeown. This is still on my list to read this year. I'm not, even though I said all of those words, I'm still going to read it because I think it'll be helpful. But just some things to keep in mind. I do have a list of women's history book recommendations from a couple of years ago that I need to update, because now I have more books to add to the list, and I'll probably be doing that this week. In fact, let me write that down, because Lord knows I will be very apt to forget it by the time we're done with this live. Update, republish, because it needs to go on Substack. Republish. Even though we're already 1 week into the month, I'm behind a week on everything. Okay, there we go. Let us talk about challenges. I'm just dropping things all over the place. One of my big pushes for the week is on health, particularly food and moving my body. So, and I know I keep talking about this. I'm going to be talking about this all year because that's what I need to focus on. Oh, we're going to do that. So update. A couple of weeks ago, I said that I was gonna change just 1 meal. Do you guys remember that? I was gonna change just 1 meal, and I think at the time, breakfast was the meal I was gonna change. So, update. I haven't really been eating breakfast early in the morning, like, at a regular breakfast time, like 8 or 9 or 7, 8 or 9 or whatever. I've been eating a late I've been eating like at a brunch time and then eating dinner. So I've been eating 2 meals a day, which for me is fine depending on what I'm eating, as long as there's enough nutrients, right? But what Steven and I have been doing is making bento boxes. Have I talked about this? I don't think so, because I think we started it last week. Maybe we did start it before. Anyway, we've been making bento boxes and filled with like protein and veggies and fruit. And both of us have been eating more protein, veggies, and fruit because we're packing it in our lunches. And if we can just get that one meal down, number two, it also saves us money because then he's eating out less while he's at work. He's not grabbing, fast food or whatever. So he's not eating out as much, which he's free to do whenever he wants. But that's not his desire to do that very often. But anyway, so we're saving money there. We're eating more fresh and whole food, so less processed food. So that's a huge win. And then I feel less what is it? I feel like I'm getting more variety in my diet every day doing that. And more like fiber and like I said, protein. I'm eating fewer empty carbs, which is also a really great thing as well. Carbs are good. We need carbs. It's just what kind of carbs? You've been fasting for 4 days, just daylight hours, just tea and coffee. How is that going, Tiffany? Oh, that's the other thing I want to do. At some point next quarter, I want to go on a juice fast, um, like 5 days. I've done it a few times before. It really helps. Really helps. If you're ever like bloated, go on a juice fast because oh my goodness, it will like clear it out. We'll clear it out. Okay, so anyway, that was one of my challenges earlier was to just change one thing in your health. It doesn't have to be anything big. You're hungry. I know. I'm so sorry. Here I am talking about food. I'm so sorry. I feel I feel it. And day 4 is usually when I kind of get over that initial hump. I'm still super hungry, but I'm not hangry. I'm hungry, but I'm not hangry. First 3 days, I'm hangry. All right, let's see. You made some veggie trays last week. Addition to salads, add meat for a small charcuterie plate. I love that. I love that. That's kind of like what the bento box idea is. It's kind of charcuterie in nature. The same things I would put on a charcuterie plate or board or girl lunch, as they call it. All right, let's stop talking about food because we need to be in solidarity with Tiffany right now. Okay, let's see. All right. Have I ever tried hummus? I love hummus. Hummus is great. It's also great protein as well. Hummus is great. And I like hummus because I don't love garbanzo beans. I'll eat them, but hummus is a great way to eat garbanzo beans. For some reason, in that form, I enjoy it more. All right. One of the challenges I'm picking one. I'm picking something more substantial, but also be on the lookout for something beautiful this week. Be on the lookout for something beautiful this week. Let's see. Sure, let's do that one. Are y'all opening your windows? Oh my gosh, the weather here was not all the time, but yesterday the weather was gorgeous. In the afternoon, we had the windows open and the house just smelled so good. So good. So make sure you're opening your windows if the weather permits. If the weather permits. Okay, here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. It's only the second week of the month, but let's go ahead and do it anyway. I'm going to invite you because we're coming up on the end of the quarter. We're coming up on the end of the quarter. It's already hot. Oh no. Oh no. So you might have to, and it doesn't, once the heat hits us here in Texas, it's not going to matter. But you might have to just keep it to your early morning hours or your late evening hours. We're going to get a high of 83, it looks like today. So I'm going to open the windows for the next couple of hours and see if I can get some fresh air before it gets really hot. Your grandparents got you hooked on garbanzo beans? Yeah, they are great in salad. Garbanzo beans are really good in salad. That's a really great way to eat them. All right, so be on the lookout for something beautiful today. Open your windows if you can. Okay, here's what I was going to say. We're coming up on the end of the quarter. I know we have a couple of weeks left, but a few weeks left. But go ahead and put this on your to-do list this week if it's helpful, and that is to do a brain dump for the quarter. Just get everything out and then give yourself a couple of weeks to process it, right? So if there are things that you need to do in, yes, thank God for AC. I've been in places where there's no AC, and I know you can survive without it. It is possible, but when it's available, my goodness, when it's available, I'm so grateful for it. Okay, so do a brain dump and then give yourself some time to process it. If you would like, I do have a brain dump tool on my website. I'm going to link the resource page here as well. It's free. You can just grab it. Speaking of which, I need to update my resource page because it's got my autumn reset on there. Anyway, so it's in the chat. I'm sorry, it's in the description. I also just put it here in the chat. So if you need a brain dump resource, a way to process a brain dump, you can grab that. But yeah, go ahead and, again, if this is helpful, start one this week and then think through how you might need to work through some tasks or data as we get into the new quarter. I'm adding that to my list, brain dump. And then last but not least, if you are sort of making some health goals, another thing you can do is to define, this is another card, define what good health means to you. Spend a few minutes brainstorming and then write it down where you can see it each day. I have suggested that one before. For anybody who's watching, I use these action ideas from Cultivate. And the two that I pulled were be on the look for something beautiful today. And then define what good health means to you. I want to take a screenshot of that. Okay, so and keep working at whatever you're working at. Tiffany, you'll have to give us how many days are you fasting, by the way? It's a roller coaster here in Pennsylvania, 30s this morning, high 60s in the afternoon, supposed to be mid 70s. Oh, goodness. And then back. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster here, too. It was really cold on Saturday. It got really cold. We had rain. And then Sunday, it was warm and sunny. It was really nice. But yeah, it's a lot. Okay. Okay. We pray for your daughter's fiance, stage 4 nasopharyngeal cancer. Oh my goodness. Started chemo last week. Oh, goodness gracious. Chemo is no joke, man. It is no joke. Yes, we'll absolutely pray for. What is his name? Your daughter's fiance. 21-day fast. Goodness. Well, I hope that goes well. You're making me think that maybe I should fast for 21 days too. Okay. What is your daughter's fiance's name? We'll pray for him. Tristan, and he's 25. That was my next question. Oh my gosh, 25. He's so young. Good grief. Yeah, we'll definitely pray for him. All right. Well, Tiffany, you'll have to keep us posted on your fast next week. Lord willing, we will have a Monday morning show. And you all have a wonderful week in terms of your goals, what you're working on, your responsibilities, your work, all the things. Yeah, that was all. I was going to say something else and it just left my mind. All right, let's pray. Let us pray. 18 weeks of chemo. He's got 18 weeks of chemo. Is that I'm hoping that is that something he can do at home, or does he have to be, is that inpatient or is that outpatient? Because depending on the kind of chemo, you can do it at home. I know somebody who's doing it like their pills or some kind of, yeah, pill form. What does that look like? Outpatient. Okay. We'll definitely be praying for him. And when are they getting married? When are they getting married? I should probably go ahead and pray. And Tiffany, you can answer whenever you need to. Okay, let's go ahead and pray for us all. No idea now that this revved up right. They just got engaged in December. Okay, so they're newly engaged. Okay. All right. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for this opportunity to come together for a few moments to review and to plan, knowing that you hold everything in your hands and that you are in control of everything. We just ask that as we go about our days, that you would help us to have discernment, to walk with dignity and grace, and to be in control of the things that you've given to us to control, to manage, to steward, to cultivate, and to monitor and navigate. Lord, thank you so much for giving us agency in our lives. That while you see and know all, you give us the opportunity to work alongside you, to make decisions, to create and to produce and to have impact in the world around us. That's such a gift. And I ask that you would help us to do those things and to steward those things wisely as creatures who are created in your image, Lord. We just ask that you would help us to be a shining light to those around us so that when people see us, they see children of the Most High King. We want to ask special blessing on Tiffany's daughter's fiance. Is it Tristan? Yes, Tristan. We ask that you would be with him, Lord, as he is facing this health challenge so early in life and at this important time in his life, starting out at some point soon, hopefully being married. They have their whole lives ahead of them, Lord, and we just ask that you would be with both Tristan and Tiffany's daughter as they navigate this season together. You'd be with his health, his prognosis, all of the things, Lord, that you would calm their fears and that you would walk alongside them. We also ask for anybody else who is dealing with anything particularly challenging, whether it's health or finances, relationships, career, or anything else, Lord, loneliness. There's so much that weighs heavy on our hearts, and you see it all. And while we are grateful for these moments where we can laugh and plan and think about the joys and the simple pleasures of life, Lord, we are also very aware of all that is heavy and dark. And we ask that you would help us to balance our exposure, balance our involvement, help us to be hands and feet where you need us, to be wise words to those who need it, that we could be shoulders to lean on, that we could be people who can lend a helping hand when necessary, that we would be generous with our time and our resources, even if it feels uncomfortable or if it feels like it's an interruption. Lord, you place us where you need us so that we can be helpful and that we could be generous and loving in the way the world needs, whatever that looks like. We also ask that you would keep us safe and that as we go about our week, that we would be wise with our time and that everything we do would be glorifying to your name. We ask all of these things, and if I've missed anything else, Lord, you know where to fill in the gaps. I ask all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you all have a wonderful Monday. Fantastic week. If you need me, you know where to find me. And I will be hopefully back next Monday as we plug along in this month and get all the things done and also think ahead to the second quarter. You guys, we're getting through the first quarter. I don't even know how that's possible because it's going by so fast. But here we are. We're going to keep pressing forward and doing good work. All right, have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you all later. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.